Hello and welcome to tonight's edition of the Evening Review. My name is Toiwan Jabala, your host. Let's quickly look at today's front page of Namibian Sun. In this segment tonight, I'm joined by Octavia Tsibes, our colleague here at Namibia Media Holdings, who is a coordinator of the MyZone publication. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Toivo.
Yes. Man, you are here specifically to talk about the project that you are leading to help reach out to learners who have to study now online. Expand for us on that project. What's happening exactly?
Toivo, there's a lot happening with that project. Of course, we engaged the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture when they cried out for help to say how may the Namibian nation assist in regards to respond to COVID-19 during the lockdown and extending the schools. So MyZone, known to be involved with sports and matric results, matric farewells. Of course, if we were not assisting the ministry in this regards, what the brand is known for, the people were going to say, but where is MyZone in all of this? So we reached out to the ministry and said we will assist them with recording these tutorial videos for them. We reached out to say we will assist them in whatever they need, and we are involved with them on different levels.
So you are offering those services for free to the ministry, is that?
Yes. What we are doing for the ministry, or let me rather say for the Namibian child, is we volunteered to say that we will record all the tutorial videos from pre-primary to grade 3 for the ministry to assist the children at home. We also did orientation for the teachers because we know that if you step into a classroom, you have learners. But now when you step into a studio, you have a camera. So we had to prepare these teachers. So we had orientation for a week for all pre-primary to grade 7 teachers. We're also assisting with compiling booklets for them with content that we get from the teachers, the production of it, printing it for the ministry, which of course comes at a cost. Printing comes at a cost, and distributing them to their circuits and to their regions.
Regarding the online materials, those tutorials that you mentioned, how are they going to be reaching students? What mode of communication will they use to reach them?
All right, so we know that times are moving, and of course there's so much that we can do with technology. So besides the booklet that is being delivered at the regional offices or circuit offices to their schools, we are recording and having these tutorials on various Facebook pages, which is of course MyZone, and then we stream this to a hub called Sochi, where all these tutorials will be for them to look at it. And again, they can go back on Facebook and say, oh, you're looking for a lesson in the booklet, for instance, week 1, pre-primary to grade 1, and you're looking for this specific lesson. You can always go back to Facebook and watch it over and over again, or you can go to this hub and then you can look at it again.
Indeed. So the materials are for children in which grades?
So Namibia Media Holdings, of course, like I said, volunteered to record for pre-primary to grade 3. And of course, we have other stakeholders that will provide us with this material, and then we will change this material and have our material on their platforms and have their material on our platforms. So when we start with this process, when all this will go live, it will be from pre-primary to grade 3.
Okay. Maybe finally the printed materials, what have we done as NMH? We printed them, we then shipped them to the regions. What are the logistics there? How do schools get access to that?
All right, like you said, NMH does do the production. They put the booklet together. we print it for them. Of course, we are involved with a committee on the ground here in Khomas region that provides us with the regional directors, educational directors numbers. So these booklets go to all 14 regions, to their regional officers, and to their circuits. The circuit officers, the inspectors, should then communicate to their principals to collect this material, which are the booklets, and for the parents to get the booklets from the various schools. That's what we are doing. So there is a schedule that is out for the public to know when it will be delivered and how they should get ready. And we do communicate with the directors to say the content is on its way and so forth, so the community knows that where they have to get the content.
Indeed. The final question, and briefly, Octavia, is when are these things accessible to children, especially the online tutorials?
All right. The booklet, which is pre-primary and 1, you can have it in today's newspaper. And the online content, we will be going live with all this recorded content that you find in the book that you received today will be from the 4th of May. 4th of May. Yes.
Kasinga Day.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Via. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Toivo.
Sure. Now we have a video displaying exactly what we've discussed here. The project was launched yesterday officially, and here are the snippets from that event yesterday.
And the entire team here on this island, they work continuously to get all the booklets done. So they compile the booklets, design the booklets. It's being approved by the teachers. All the input of the team also worked in, and then it's going to the ministry for sign-off. And then we print it. Exactly.
As you can see, the setup here is for the sign language teachers. They have to look at a video. They sit just behind you, and then they watch on a TV screen, and that's when they do the sign language after a video is compiled in the actual classroom studio. I will take you over to the classroom studio to show you what happens there.
Once you see this, you already have the book. That's the Spanish way. So this cannot go out before the teachers receive this actual book. Otherwise, they won't understand.
It will help the children to do these things with themselves. Yes. Even on the radio. Yes.
Yeah.
So they have a book and follow.
Yes. So each child is catered for, and each child should get homework.
Good evening. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jemima Beekers. Tonight we have in studio with us the Ombudsman, Advocate John Walters, to talk to us about the widespread human rights violations we've seen over the last few weeks since the lockdown and state of emergency was announced by the President. Thank you for joining us, Advocate.
Thank you too, Ms. Beekers, for the opportunity, and good evening to the viewers.
Now, Advocate, before we go to the human rights violations, let us start with the mandate of your office. Can you just give a brief overview on the mandate of the Office of the Ombudsman?
Thank you. Thank you also for the opportunity. This is one of the least understood part of the Ombudsman from the side of the general public, and that is why I thank you for the opportunity to again explain the functions of the Ombudsman, which is set out in the Ombudsman Act and the Constitution, and all our annual reports are published on our website. But unfortunately, it seems that it is too difficult for our people to open or do any effort to read about the Ombudsman, and then they assume the Ombudsman have different duties, like my colleagues in other parts of the world, and the Ombudsman have an abundance of resources to address all the issues which is sometimes of a socio or economic nature, which falls outside the Ombudsman's mandate. The mandate of the Ombudsman is to receive and investigate complaints relating to maladministration, that is bad administration on the part of government and all its subdivisions, that is regional and local governments and the state-owned enterprises, to receive and to investigate violations of human rights by public officials, the government, as well as against private persons and private enterprises, as well as what we shortly refer to as the protection of environment. And in that regard, we concentrate more on the management of solid and liquid waste by town councils and settlement councils, and to see whether they comply with their prescribed duties under the different parts of legislation.
Now, Advocate, earlier you said something about people often misconstrue your role with that of
but colleagues in the other parts of
parts of the other countries. Can you please share with me or just explain? Yeah. You also know that often you have been compared to the public protector in South Africa and even the Anti-Corruption Commission here in Namibia. Can you just explain how your role differs from those two?
Until the end of 2004, it was the mandate of the Ombudsman to investigate instances of corruption. That fell away with the establishment, or abolished with the establishment of the Anti-Corruption Commission. That is why we have that arrangement that we refer matters to one another. Maladministration to the Ombudsman, complaints of corruption to the body which is better resource and better empowered to investigate that matters. The public protector also in South Africa also has the mandate to investigate complaints of maladministration and corruption. South Africa, unlike Namibia, does not have a separate anti-corruption commission. That is the job of the police, and the public protector. South Africa has a separate national human rights institution, while the investigations of violations of human rights is part of the Ombudsman's mandate. So that is a difference. Public protector corruption, Ombudsman Namibia
human rights.
Human rights.
Speaking about human rights, we have seen, even before the lockdown, we've seen widespread human rights abuses, especially when the Defence Force personnel were deployed on the streets. And we've seen this situation aggravated after the lockdown was imposed on Namibians. Can you share with me this, the situation on the ground?
Let me first begin with that. I am not on Facebook and all other social media forums, so I cannot tell you what happened there. I have been occasionally such incidents is sent to me, and then I'll take action, because although it is not an express duty of the Ombudsman to start investigations out of own motion. According to the Ombudsman Act, somebody must complain. But I assume the duty to investigate matters out of own motion. I can recall a number of these incidents. The latest one was the one where the member of the Defence Force violated the dignity of a person by throwing on homemade brew on him. That is what I was informed him, and let him swim in that mud. And when I was informed of the matter by one of my staff members, we immediately took action. We established that the incident happened in one of the northern regions. We contacted our colleagues at our Ongwediva office to assist the person to file a criminal charge, and if he wants to institute a civil claims, that we can assist him to apply for legal aid. We do not have that resources to assist him to take the matter to court. I've read in the newspapers that Mr. Norman Chombe was prepared to assist in that regard.
Then there was a while back, we've had the issue of the resettlement farmers and the demand for a master list to be released. The Ombudsman was part of that inquiry. Did you ever get the master list for resettlement?
Oh yes, I've received a list of persons, and I assume that it is the correct and that all the beneficiaries appeared on that list. The next step was for me, and I explained it also to a person who complained to our office, to visit or to identify some of the farms and to visit them in order to see the conditions in which. I have seen many photographs of the dilapidated conditions in which the farms are at that stage, that I was being informed and reliably that the farms are under leased, leased out to others and persons making money out of that, that there is not all the beneficiaries had signed a lease agreement with the government, or in this instance the Ministry of Lands, and these lease agreements, many of them are not registered with the deeds office. So that is unfortunately things overtook my responsibilities for too many last year. I could not follow up on this. I promise that I will follow up on this year, and it happened. So that the unfortunate happened that we are now locked down to it. But I promise myself that as soon as although I have to limit my visit to different farms, I will complete that report and point out. But in the meantime, I've sent before the second land conference, I sent the recommendations to the relevant ministry and the minister. I've sent my recommendations, the provisional recommendations. I published it in my 2018 annual report. It is there for everyone, all members of parliament who took the time to read my annual report would have seen that. I've received, needless to say, nobody comment on that, but I will address the other outstanding matters during the course of the year. I have to finalize it, ma'am. I have to also tell you and the viewers that my time in office expired on the 31st of July next year, when I will turn, on the 7th of July, I will turn 65. So people also have a problem. Let me take also this opportunity, a problem that I have been appointed for a lifetime. Let me just answer that concern of the citizens of the public, that I did not appoint myself. I applied for the job and I've been appointed. I did not draft the constitution. I was not part of the constitution drafters. And in that, the constitution provides that the ombudsman, like all judges in this country, is appointed until the retirement age of 65, and the president may extend our term of office until 70, which I would not ask for.
Now, Advocate, you've also yourself raised the issue about public scrutiny and public criticism.
Yes.
Now, there's obviously a lot of people calling your office and yourself a toothless dog. What do you make of those criticisms?
Ma'am, now that is what I again said, the assumption. What people say. But, it's a general statement. On what? Did anybody ever, you yourself, of those who call themselves investigative journalists, ever took the time and read my annual report? Let me make it abundantly clear. I complied with all my constitutional and statutory duties. That is what I meant. If you take the time, ma'am, and just peruse the last one of the other ones, you will see I made recommendations. In the last one, I made I've make an assessment of how Namibia realized the socio-economic rights of our citizens, specifically the right to housing, the water and sanitation, health, and a number on it. And I pointed them out on all the plans and programs of government and the weaknesses of that program, which government itself acknowledged in their programs. So, and I made a general recommendation that government should commit more resources in order to address these shortcomings in housing or the rights of persons to right to water and all these things, and that there should be a monitoring. There should be people appointed to monitor the implementation of the plan and how the resources of government is being used in order to. Let us just take the example of housing. Was that properly planned? It was not my job to make that plan. You understand? I can just point out to government, and which I did. Now I ask you, and my father used the word with tears in my pitch black eyes. You tell me, where did I fail my duties?
Now, there's obviously the issue that as a human rights institution, you have locus standi to take government to court for certain violations. So why is it that we have not seen the Ombudsman going to court for homeless people being on the street? We've seen so many people living in the corridors.
Ma'am, let me, and that is what I say. You assume now, you assume that I have the abundance of resources. If you just take the time again to peruse my 2018 annual report, you will see a small part of the part of my budget which is allocated to me, which I can use. You will discover that out of the 17 million which I received, 15 million is for personnel expenses, and the others is 2 million. I have to run the office with head office with 5 regional office on a budget of 2 million. So you did not ask me, do you have the money and the resources? You assumed. Listen here. We have to appoint no, we have to appoint legal practitioners to take matters to court. To take them to court. And it is not an easy exercise. It's not a cheap exercise. Up till now, ma'am, not a single lawyer in this country offered that they will assist the Ombudsman to take matters pro bono on his behalf. You understand? That is the matters which I can tell you, I took a matter, and I instructed, request lawyers to take the matter, a matter about housing to court. That was in June last year. In December, I have to ask her to give back the instruction and my documents, because at that stage, I only paid for nothing. The matter was, for 6 months, the matter did not take the matter to court. I gave
people that were paid to take it to court.
Yeah, I paid the first account and waiting for the next, but she did nothing further on. And then she informed us in December she can only attend to the matter in February. I couldn't wait because it's a person's right to housing is violated, which in my opinion. So I used to ask another colleague. Until now, the matter is not even, I received nothing, what they did or what they intend to do. Now you ask again for me, is the Ombudsman a toothless institutions? Ma'am, I do not get there is a support from, even from my colleagues. And I've taken many or a number of issues to court. I've took a matter what we call, and it was widely publicized in a couple of years ago, where the practice was that the registrar of the High Court can sign and issue warrant of execution to sell a person's house on an auction. We intervened. We said the registrar of the High Court does not have that power. It's only a court. On that matter, the matter did not run its course through the court because the judge president at the time asked me to stop and wait. You will amend the rules of court, and it was amended. So a person has a better chance to retain his house now when he or she stand to lose his or her house. What we call, there must be judicial oversight before a person's house is sold in execution. That is one of the matters. The other, we intervene in a number of matters where a person's house was in danger of to lose it. And the one we took 2 or 4 years, 2 years ago, was the detention, unlawful detention of foreigners in our police holding cells. They were detained by immigration without a valid warrant of detention. We ended in court with that matter.
But resources remain a challenge.
But I can take anything to court. I can anything to court. But I need a budget where we can say to that is your budget. The other challenge and concern is my budget is linked to the Ministry of Justice. And sometimes there's a misunderstanding between the Ministry of Justice and the Ombudsman. They perceive the Ombudsman as a director of the ministry. You see,
why is that a challenge for you? Should the Ministry of Justice now
yes,
be a proponent for
I
human rights?
need, like the judiciary, the same provisions, exactly the same provisions which is applicable to the judiciary and judges in the Constitution is applicable to the Ombudsman. You understand?
Yes.
But the Ombudsman is treated for the past 29 years totally different. When I need tomorrow, if you said I need to take a case to court, I will instruct, and then I must send that account to justice. I have to, if I want to do awareness raising campaign, then I must, my accent in my quest, motivated. The Ombudsman must beg for money to do something. I'm glad you gave me this opportunity so that I can put things in perspective for the general public, those who will the opportunity and time to view this interview or listen to our conversations. That is, I'm not joking, I'm not lying. That is not, but with the resources we have, you will see what we have done. Just go look at at each and every one. We look at, we monitor the police holding cells, the correctional services, to see that persons, those marginalized, we call it, they are marginalized because they are kept in a
Confined space.
In the detention holding cells, which some of them are in deplorable conditions. Not you cannot detain a human being in such a matter. I've made my reports on all these things. It is But I've made a recommendation in 2008 when the late Nikki Yambo was the Minister of Safety and Security. When we had a stakeholders meeting, and we made a recommendation which Cabinet at that time approved and instructed the Ministry of Safety and Security to budget for money to build remand prisons. So that, because the police are not trained to guard, feed, and look after trial awaiting inmates, that is the job of the correctional officers. It's 2000. Where we are now, 11 years later, not a single one was built.
Thank you very much for joining us. It was quite a discussion. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you too, Ms. Beekers. I hope we're going to have another time to continue this conversation. But if you're going to get just the last opportunity, I would just encourage again. You can see how broad my shoulders are. I can take criticism. I can take whatever you want to say to me. I would not file a criminal sue you for defamation of character, because one of my sons always said to me, "You wanted to be the ombudsman, so don't cry."
There you have it. Thank you once again for tuning in.
Thank you.